Hello, my name is Ranja, and in this video you will learn about adaptation that you have not heard about before. I will explore two different kingdoms, kingdom animal and kingdom plant in the rainforest environment. I will be looking at toucan from kingdom animal and nut tree from kingdom plant. But before I begin, I would like to give you an overview of what adaptation is. So what is an adaptation? It is the change in behavior, psychological and structure of an organism to become more suited to an environment. Psychological adaptation is a metabolic or psychological adjustment within the cell of an organism in response to an environment stimuli, resulting in the improved ability of the organism to cope with this changing environment. Behavior adaptation is an action that animals carry out to increase their chances of survival and reproduction. Now let's begin with the first kingdom, the animal kingdom. The animal that I will be looking at is a toucan. Toucan's characteristic: it has a very long claws to support its weight with two toes pointing forward and two toes pointing backwards to keep balance. Toucan's bill has a combination of bright blue, yellow, orange, and red and black spot at the tip of its beak. The toucan has a very long, flat tongue to eat food from tall branches of trees. The first adaptation of a toucan is: toucan in the past mainly ate fish and other small animals, but over time it has adapted to eat a high fruit diet and insects due to the environmental pressure. So over many generations, the toucan teeth were not used and gradually the trait of teeth disappeared. Behavioral adaptation. Toucan has adapted to sleep in nesting holes of trees to protect itself from predators at night. But due to a toucan's large bill, the toucan has also adapted to turning his head 180 degrees backward and placing its bill between its wings to able to keep warm and protect itself from danger at night. Now let's hypothesize how the adaptation of a toucan arose in the population using 4 points of natural selection. First, variation. The size of toucan breed: long, medium, short. The shorter beak may struggle to defend themselves compared to long beaks. Long beaks may be better suited to the environment since they can help the toucan to defend themselves against predators. Environmental selection. The environment will select the toucan with the extreme phenotype, large beak, and create a destructive selection. Reproduction and inheritance. If the phenotype increases in the population, it will increase the chances of survival, which would help the toucan to pass on its allies onto the next generation. Continuing on, let's look at different organisms from a same environment but different kingdom. The plant kingdom, nut tree. Now let's look at its adaptations. Structural adaptation. The leaves of a rainforest tree have adapted to cope with the large amount of rain. So the leaves are big, waxy, and have drip tips to let the rain drop off quickly now. Psychological adaptation. The layers of nut trees have evolved to grow higher in the canopy so its leaves get enough sunlight. Now let's hypothesize how the nut tree plants evolved the drip tips on the leaves using 4 points of natural selection. Variation. Normal leaves without drip tips or leaves with drip tips in the rainforest environment. Struggle. The leaves which don't have drip tips may struggle to survive in the rainforest environment compared to the leaves that have drip tips. So the leaves which have become drip tips may be better since they can defend themselves against the rainforest environment. Environment selection. The environment will select the leaves that have drip tips since it's able to cope with this rainforest environment. Reproduction and inheritance. The leaves with dip tips enables the plant to survive and be the fittest, which would also help the plant to pass on its genetics to its next generation. The interaction. The toucan stays within its environment and interacts with different plants. So on the nut tree, it uses its large beak to break the nutshell and eat the nuts from it. It chews the food and throws away the seed, which then grow to make new trees. Thank you.
Created using Toucan.